tuning in to another episode of Save the Track Bike, presented by Hexagon Cycles. On today's episode, I have Magnus Ruby Bang from the Scandanavian Fixed Crit Team. On this episode, we talk about Red Hook, we talk about Fixed 42, which he paints us a detailed picture of what it's like to go to that race, and I found it really compelling. We talk about his bikes. He has a really rare, giant carbon track bike that only 25 were made, I guess. And yeah, we talk about all those things, and let's just get into it.
I'm Magnus. I'm riding fixed gear. I'm 21 years old, and I live in Copenhagen. I think that's the short.
How did you get into cycling?
Cycling in Copenhagen, we all ride bikes on a commuting base. And then I think it was my father who introduced me for riding my bike when I was 7 years old. I rode my first trips to North Zealand on this little 20-inch bike. And then I got a new bike, a road bike with I think it had 7 gears. And then over time, I became, 15. And then I got my first fixed gear bike for commuting to school. Then I knew this, I wanted to post it on an internet forum because I was really proud of this bike. And they roasted my bike a bit in there, and it's kind of it got me to, I don't know, I thought I had to prove something, so I had to show up to some races, and from there just evolved quite fast.
So what attracted you to the fixed gear bike? Why did you decide that was your bicycle that you were going to commute on?
It was the aesthetics at that point. I thought it would look really, really cool. Just with no cables, and I thought it was quite easy to go fast. Copenhagen is really, really flat, so you don't really need gears. The mix of it was also cheaper compared to other bikes on the same level, and it's really easy to maintain. I think these three parameters was what started the fixed gear for me.
Yeah, so you said the aesthetics attracted you to it, and one of the reasons why you're on this podcast is because I followed you because you're always posting really beautiful bicycle photos. So what's your history with photography, and how did you kind of get into just taking pictures of bikes and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, thank you. I'm super happy when people like what I do. It started I was on Instagram for a long time, and then I just I took some photos. First was just my iPhone, and then at some point a photographer contacted me and asked if I wanted to go for a photo shoot. And I just met with him and one of my good friends, Jacob. And the three of us just rode through Copenhagen. I got some really, really nice photos. I'm still posting some of them from time to time. And I think that was the eye-opener for this. It was super, super nice. And I got a lot of feedback on some of the photos. And it just became a nice way to showcase this fixed gear to other people. The fixed gear scene in Copenhagen is not that big anymore, so I feel that if I can, if I can show this sport to more people, maybe we can get a bigger community about fixed gears in Copenhagen.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too, Copenhagen and that region of the world is known a lot for how many people cycle and stuff. So I just kind of wanted to get into what is the fixed gear scene like there as far as rides and racing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think the most of Europe, let's say the world, There was this fixed gear mainstream hype some years ago. Copenhagen was really into that as well. After the financial crisis, everybody wanted to have a like simple, cheap bike that needed no maintenance. It's quite like just post financial crisis. But then after this mainstream hype died, there was some hardcore people left. But solely on fixed gear, it's quite small right now. We are few people. Then racing, there's kind of like two categories. There are this Ellicat messenger scene, and then there's the more, competitive part of the fixed gear scene, who are racing fixed gear crits, and in that part, I think we're maybe 10 people or so. But I'm trying to, for example, I'm organizing this Sunshine Crit. I organized it for 3 years, and I'm just about to organize one now. I don't know so much about it yet, but I think it will be sometime in August. And then I hope that I can attract some people from Sweden and Germany, because especially in Germany, the fixed gear scene is really, really big. You know, they just had the 8-bar crit today. They have the whole red race, and I'm going to this water can crit in Hamburg the 9th of June, which is really one of my favorite crits in all over Europe. So I think in my part of the world, the fixed gear scene is really big in Germany, and then in Copenhagen it's small, but it feels like that maybe this year there could be some like what can I say? I think that more people are maybe getting into it, but it's just a feeling. I kind of don't know it.
Yeah, it seems to be growing a little bit, and you guys had the Rafa Nocturne there last year. Did you race that?
Yeah, I actually was involved quite a lot with the Nocturne. It was such a nice event. I was racing, but I worked a bit for Rafa. I transported the bags on a cargo bike all morning from the Rafa clubhouse to the course, and then after I did these 5 rides on a cargo bike full of bags. Then I went out. I was the ride leader on one of the rides, and so I went out and I had to bridge a gap on this ride in hardcore headwind. And I used quite a lot of power on that. Then I set up this RCC corner, lifting a lot of stuff. So when I was on the starting line, I was kind of exhausted.
Yeah.
But I got, I think I got 5 or 6 good laps, and I lived really, really close to the course. So I had a lot of friends and family there. And the whole course is in this meatpacking district, which is like a recreative space in Copenhagen, which is super, super nice. So I think the whole event was really nice, but my race was super bad. So we decided just to grab a beer from one of my friends while still on the course, drink it, and then drop out.
I feel like it's hard if you to keep up that energy when you've been doing stuff all day.
Yeah, I think it's not because I thought I would have won without that, but when you're maybe not the strongest and then you put on a lot of hard work before, is maybe not the best way to prepare for a race. But I heard rumors that they are returning this year to Copenhagen.
Cool, that course looked insane.
Yeah, it was really insane. I think it was maybe 40% on cobbles and some really sharp corners, and yeah, but it was super, super fun. I had hoped that there would have been a more competitive. I think we were 25 or something, but there were some really strong guys. David Van Aert came and won, and Timon Saubert was there as well, so it was quite competitive, but it could have been nice with, 60, 70 fixed gears people in my city.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the live stream of that, and it seemed really fast.
Yeah, it was super fast, and there was these two long stretches on the course where the speed really got up. Yeah, and then there was the whole technical part where people really was taking these corners faster than I thought I could. I lived close by, so I trained on the course quite a lot of times, but on race day you could just push the limit, I don't know, 10-20% or something. It was really amazing that they did a really good job on fixing potholes and sweeping the whole course. That was really amazing for me. So you could really push the limit, and I think I pedal stroke maybe 2 or 3 times in one of the sharp corners. So
pedal striking scary.
Yeah, it's really scary, but it was just like, I don't know, it wasn't really striking. It was more like just touching a little. Yeah. I think when you're just touching, this is the limit. It feels quite nice.
You're like, I got this.
If it's not too dangerous. Yeah, exactly.
It just like taps the shoe a little bit. I've been there.
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed on Instagram at some point you were posting photos, and there was like a Rafa fixed gear group ride.
Yeah, that was prior to the whole Nocturne. Me and I don't know if you've seen him on my Instagram, Fixie Call. Mm-hmm. And third guy, Benjamin from the Rafa Clubhouse. We was doing some fixed gear rides prior to this Nocturne to like get a feeling and get people into shape with this fixed gear. Those were some of the best rides I had last year. It was every Wednesday for 6 weeks, and we just hit some really nice roads.
Yeah, the photos looked beautiful.
Yeah, it's Benjamin on the camera. He's a really talented photographer. I took some photos with him the other day, who are coming on Instagram next week, I think. But he got some really nice photos of this sunsets and stuff. But I really hope that we can follow up this year and do a series more of fixed gear rides in the Rafa Clubhouse. It's quite nice for us to be in a place like the Rafa Clubhouse, so we can get a reach to people that normally maybe wouldn't go on a fixed gear ride, but with this whole brand behind the fixed gear rides, even more people came out. I think we was 15, 16 on some of the big rides, which is quite a lot on fixed gear solely in Copenhagen.
Absolutely. It seems like Rafa is doing a good job of getting behind things, like adding the fixed gear category in the Nocturne, and then doing those rides with you, and then they're sponsoring Team Stanridge this year, so it's pretty...
What team are they sponsoring?
Team Stanridge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't saw that yet. That's a good news. I think there's a lot of business for Rafa and the whole fixed gear community.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Aesthetics and culture. I think there's some good matches in there.
That's one thing I love about cycling is I love design, and I love minimalist design, and I really enjoy like part of that with the fixed gear is just like how beautiful the lines are and everything on the bicycles, and like when you have everything dialed in and set up so well, and then
yeah, exactly. At some point you're just finding some lines who match together, and maybe the angle of the saddle is the same as the angle of the stem, and all of a sudden you can just see, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 lines in all, and it just aligns, and the wheels, and there's not a single part that you can take off this bike because it's just cut to the bone, but it's still so, I mean, you can do almost everything with a track bike. You could mount some bigger tires, and you could do cyclocross, you can do city, you can do like the fastest discipline on bikes, maybe it's downhill, but where you're pedaling yourself, it's track bikes on a track, so you can go super fast, you can go cross, it's like you can do almost everything on a fixed gear bike. I can't see any limits. Like on a road bike, you can't really get it into a cross bike, or you can't get it I just think that the fixed gear bike can do everything, but it's also the most simple bike, and I think that's really a beautiful thing on the fixed gears.
And I love seeing things like Rad Race, like you were saying in Germany, just like experimenting with different kinds of races on track bikes and seeing the explosion of the criteriums. I think that there's so much to be tapped into.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so agree on that. It's and all of those track lacrosse events at the moment. And
yeah, Mud Max.
Exactly. There's so much happening and in so many different directions, but all with this fixed gear bike as a hub for everything. And I think it's quite unique that people are just, the fixed gear community is so international, and you don't even have to know people. This fixed gear just brings people together. Everybody who rides a fixed gear at a certain level can talk to everybody who rides a fixed gear bike on a certain level, even if it's like different kinds of track bikes. It could be super fast guys and some rad bikes, but I think the ideas of why you're riding a fixed gear bike is almost the same for everybody riding a fixed gear bike.
Yeah, the recurring theme is always just the simplicity.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that like so much of cycling is so tech oriented, and just like, how much money can I spend on this new product or this new thing? And it's funny because the track bike is like kind of the opposite of that. It's like, how much can I take away and just make it about my legs and like what I can do?
Yeah, exactly. And it's, this, you could call it like a no bullshit way of seeing things. And I think the criterions are also like kind of the same. It's quite no bullshit. You start your race and first one to cross is the winner. There's like not so much about it. There's, of course, I know, for example, in Red Hook Crit, there are teams and they are getting more of that stuff. But if you compare it to, let's say, Paris-Roubaix, there's so much more tactics in Paris-Roubaix, where in Red Hook Crit, it's so short, and you just, if you want to win, you just have to pedal hard from the start until the end. You can't wait too much, or like you can in the big stage races. And this no bullshit attitude is quite in everything in the fixed gear world, I think, and that's really attractive.
Absolutely. I do want to see more races like Fixed 42. I think that that's a huge opportunity for people.
Really.
I think the idea of just like getting on the street with like 500 people just sounds like a really fun time.
Yeah, I raced it all 3 years so far, and I also registered for the next one is it 28 days now, I think. I'm really, I do look forward, but I'm so much not in shape for it this year. But I still think it's going to be amazing fun going on this Autobahn in this giant group, and you just have these 8 photomotos in front. It's just, this pro feeling is insane, and it's just, I really think that Rad Race is doing a great job at arranging these races. The whole setup is so pro. It's so detailed, and the whole course through Berlin is really, really nice. I mean, the first time I didn't really knew the course. I was just riding with the bunch, and then all of a sudden you're at Alexanderplatz, or you see the television tower, and all of a sudden you're just in the center of Berlin, seeing all the things you know on this course. And there's so many people standing in the side, looking and cheering. It's really, really amazing.
So what does that day look like? What does that experience look like going to that race?
Okay. First you have to take a train. When I'm there, I'm living in the central of Berlin. Then you have to take a train, but there's like two or three trains going there. So in the train there are 100 bikes just stacked up, and you chat with all the other guys. It's really this train ride is amazing. You can try to ride there, but it's quite hard because so many roads are blocked. And even when you're riding like in the morning till the train, you have to avoid all of these blocked roads. So you can really feel that whole Berlin is kind of blocked off. So the hype is already starting way before you're at the starting line, because you can see Polizei saying that the road is closed. Then you get into the train, put your bike in there with all the other guys, riding to the start line where they always have a DJ pumping up some hardcore music. And people it's always nice to see people are doing so many different things. You line up in this really long queue. Some people are just standing there. Some people are sitting. And then, like, with, I don't know, half an hour to go or something, people are starting getting really nervous. Like, I need to go pee. And people are stressed. So many people are so stressed. I need to get some water, all of this stuff. But you can see, like, the hardcore dudes, they knew before, so they had their drink and they had peed. And they're just standing there waiting. It's kind of, you can really see who tried this before and who didn't. And then at first there's this start behind what's called pace start. So I think the first 2 kilometers is behind this car. And then it gets from, I don't know, maybe 30 kilometers an hour to 55 in 20 seconds or something. It's really intense because you can't really see when they're waving the flag, but you can just hear this amazing sound of carbon and track bikes because there's so many. I think all people who race this race, they just, when you say, can you remember the sound of Red Race? They'll just, that sound of carbon and warm asphalt and tight chains. And then when they're waving the flag, you can just hear guys standing up the pedals. And you just do it like all the others. It's like fish swimming around, just moving in this one big, like, you don't really have to think, you're just moving with the bunch. Then there are, I think, maybe 2 corners, and then you're on the Autobahn. And the speed really gets high. People are attacking off the front. The pace is going down a bit. Then the pace goes up because the new guy attack off the front. I tried some different things through the years. Last year I knew that my shape wasn't so good, so I went for an attack just for the fun to be like in front of, I think there was 700 people last year. So I just wanted to be in front for some seconds. And so I did, and I got a really amazing photo, which was super nice. The first year I just stayed in the bunch. Then after this Autobahn stuff, you hit the outskirts of Berlin. And then Tempelhof, where they hosted the 8-bar crit today. This old German airport on this, like, some big concrete blocks. So when you're riding there, it feels like almost like cobbles, just riding over. But it's kind of really a crucial place for the whole race. I think all 3 years so far, it's been more or less settled on Tempelhof. The people who are getting with the first group over Tempelhof are almost always ending to ride together until the finish line and sprint for it. I think the second year, 7 guys went away on Tempelhof and they got all the way to the finish line. So Tempelhof is kind of the Arnberg Woods of Paris-Roubaix. It's kind of, you have to be there. It's also really, really windy. You go from, often you have a tailwind all the way into the Autobahn. But then at the Tempelhof, you'll have a strong side wind, which are really tearing people apart. So this year, I just hope that I can make it till Tempelhof, and then maybe just try to sprint over and get as good a group as I can, and try to hold it until the finish line. then after the finish line, you get into this. You cross the finish line, and they just lined up. I don't know, 500-600 beers, and there's just beers for everybody, and people are just like, some are crying, some are cheering, and it's just people are really like feeling. People are just super, super excited because this race it's so intense and it's so fast. It's 56 minutes. So like after, people are just realizing what they just did, and everybody is so proud that the average speed is so high. And like every year, it's like, how did I just go for 56 minutes with 48 kilometers an hour average? Is so intense and so amazing. It's the fastest I ever rode on a bike. That's during the Fixed 42.
That's exactly what I wanted.
Nice.
I need to go to that race so bad. It's like, it's on my bucket list for sure.
Nice. If you come, we could chat there as well. It's really a nice race. And it's just, there's so many people with this, like this super competitive guys, like Stefan Schaefer from Specialized Rocket Espresso. But there's also just like people in almost shorts and t-shirts on a 6-gear bike they bought 2 weeks ago and stuff. But I really like that one of them can go from, like, can grab all people and bring them together, because Red Hook is quite exclusive. Even though everybody can register it, it's kind of, you have to be fast if you want to register. I tried to qualify last year and I wasn't fast enough. It's really hardcore to get into Red Hook, where Rad Race is for everybody. Of course, some people are riding faster than other people, but it's really nice that it's 700 people and everybody can participate.
Yeah, everybody can be on the Autobahn, like riding a bike.
Exactly, and it's like having these 4 lanes. It's just in an intense feeling, and with these police motorcycles and photo motorcycles, and it's just once in a lifetime experience to ride on this Autobahn.
What's your gearing on a race like that?
I'm running quite hard gears. I think I've been doing 52-14 most years.
Yeah, that sounds about reasonable, going that fast.
I mean, when you're going 55 kilometers an hour for maybe, I don't know, 5-10 minutes in a row, you don't want to be spinning, because then you're dead, and there are not that many accelerations. So when you just have the speed, and if you make it to the finish line with the first group, I think it's 1.2 kilometers just straight. Then the final sprint gets up to 60, 65, I don't know, but just really, really fast. So 52-14 is my gear.
Nice. What are some of your other favorite races you've done?
I really like this Vatican crit in Hamburg, which is it's really competitive. They are having some really good German riders. They're also having riders from the Netherlands who are really, really talented. But it's still really down to earth. Of course, I like Red Hook. I've been to both Red Hook Milano and Barcelona, and I think those are wonderful races. But for me, they are a bit too fast and a bit too pro. This Watercan crit arranged by Suicycle, this bike shop in Hamburg, I really think it's really nice. There are some nice prizes, but nobody's racing for the prizes, and it's just low key, and there's a really the sportsmanship people between are really, really amazing. It feels more like everybody is friends, but then again, when you're first racing, it's really, really fast, and I think that's for me the perfect between getting too low key. Some of the Sunshine Crits I hosted, they've been too lousy, too low key, where people haven't been racing fast enough and it hasn't been serious enough. And then sometimes at Retro Crit, I think it can get a little too serious for me, at least. At Watercant, it's kind of, it's still for everybody, but it's still competitive, and it's a real competition. It's real balance for me. So I think that's one of my favorite crits.
Yeah, balance seems to be kind of a really good way to look at it, because you do have Red Hook crit being so huge, but at the same time that helps like lift all of the other races. So you can kind of, at some point, hopefully we'll be able to have different categories.
Yes, exactly. And I think Red Hook crit is so important, and I'm super happy that somebody's doing the work and putting in such a great event, which is so really professional arranged, and they're really getting out wide. They're getting out in all of the mainstream cycling media, and I really think that they're pushing the sport to so many people who don't know our sport yet. So I think Red Hook crit is so crucial for the whole fixed gear scene, but
yeah,
still I like these more low-key
sure.
crits.
No, I'm with you. I'm never going to race Red Hook. I'll just say that. I'm 32 years old. I just got into racing. Like, I'm not going to be competitive at a Red Hook, but I'm super stoked that there's smaller crits that I can go race at now.
Yeah, exactly. I think I still have a dream to go to Red Hook crit again this year. Either Milano or Barcelona, and get humiliated for the third time, but maybe this year I can actually manage and get a good position in the final, or maybe with this new heat system, which I think is a really nice implement, I could maybe go to just make a good race or something.
Yeah, at least no matter what, you get 2 races. So
yeah, which is really nice. I went to Milano and I got 11 rounds of racing, which is, I don't know, it's just really, really a long way to go to ride your bike 11 kilometers. I still enjoyed all of it. I enjoyed going to Milano. I enjoyed talking with all the people there. I really enjoyed seeing the race in the night. It's such an amazing event. But to go to Waterkant and be able to sit in there with some really good people for a long time is really nice for me.
For sure. So how many track bikes do you have?
Oh, I actually only have 2. I have my Scandanavian the Ciano type, which I'm going to build up as my crit bike. I just got some new hubs, and I got some 60mm carbon rims that I'm going to put together. And then I got my Giant TCR Team, which is this carbon track bike. I really love that bike. I think I don't know much about it because it's never been mass produced. I heard a number from a guy working at Giant that they produced 25 of these frames ever. And I think they made them for people who were sponsored by Giant on the road and then wanted to do 6-day racing or other track bike events in the winter. And then instead of doing like, maybe they were riding Savello and stuff, so Giant produced some track bikes that was like top competitive, and I got one of those frames, which I really, really love. It's with integrated seat post, and it's just so massive. The tubes are so big that I even can't get my hands around it, and it's really just an intense bike. It's kind of, I think it's from 2005 or 2006 or something like that, where especially track bikes still were crazy. I don't think it's that aerodynamic today because they made them thinner and smaller and more conservative, but it was kind of this wild 90 way of thinking. If you say that a water drop is aero, then let's make everything water shaped. Just let's make every tube big, and if just like this bigger is better attitude. And I really think it's a nice error, just going like crazy. And I have way too much drop on it. The steer tube is only 90mm, and I got it slammed, and I got all the seat tube so I'm sitting ridiculously low and stuff. But it's just like it's over the top in a really nice way. So I really love the bike.
What is 2018? What is this coming season looking like? What are you excited about as far as races and rides?
I'm on this team SFCT, which is Scandanavian Fixed Crit Team. We just got a new sponsor, which we are going to announce in a couple of days. We also made some. We expanded the team a little. So we are now 3 guys in Copenhagen and 3 guys in Stockholm, who are going to race full time on this. I'm really looking forward to that. Then my racing calendar so far is Fixed 42, and then 2 weeks after I'm going to Watercan Crit. Maybe I'm also going to Thunder Crit in London on this Lee Valley Velodrome track. Then I'm definitely going back to the NL Crit Series. I raced one of their crits last year in the B class, and I actually won it. So I promoted to the A, which I'm kind of afraid of because I'm slower this year than I was last year. But I think it's going to be fun to race with the fast guys this year. I'm a little bit in doubt which one of the NL Crit Series races I'm going to, because they host so many and they all look super, super rad. But I think maybe go back to Rotterdam and try to win on the same circuit as I won on last year. Could be amazing. And then if I have the time and the shape, I think I need to go to at least either Barcelona or Milano for the Red Hook. But yeah, I don't know yet. It's kind of, if I'm in a good shape, I probably go to more races. If I'm in a bad shape, I don't feel as motivated as going to crits. But I think I'll probably pick up some shape. And when you're at a crit and you just want to go to crit next weekend and next weekend and next weekend, so you kind of have to get into the loop. And when you're there, it's just booking those flights to, I don't know, just all over Europe, registering for those races and have a really nice time.
For sure. I think the only one I've decided the only one I'm really going to race this year, outside of some local ones in Colorado and the US where I am, is the Bone Machine Crit in Portland, which should be really big. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I think that's going to be in September, but they haven't announced the actual date yet, so I'm just kind of holding back, ready to buy my plane ticket.
Yeah, for sure. I actually only heard about it. I don't know so much about it. Is it just a regular criterium, or do they have any twist on it?
Yeah, so they have a track day, because they do have a velodrome up there. And so they'll have like a track day and then just a whole day of like heats and races and stuff on the crit. So it's kind of set up more like a Red Hook, you know. But yeah, it's a little bit smaller and it's out in Portland, and everyone that I talked to that went to it a couple years ago, they didn't do one last year, but everybody said it was like their favorite course.
Oh, nice. I think track days and stuff are so nice because, yeah, then it's just like a really chill experience going around this velodrome and people just chilling in the middle, and you get a nice chance to chat with people, and if you want to take 10 fast laps, you can just do it, and it's nice that people can ride fast and slow but still be in the same place.
For sure.
No,
plus, it's nice to have more to do than just show up to a different city and do 1 or 2 races and then be done. It's nice to have a weekend of things.
Exactly, and it's not a competition, which also is nice just to chill, ride your bike. You don't have to perform anything. You can talk to everybody. It's just, yeah. I think expanding these events into weekends is really a nice thing to do. I know that the Fixed 42 is a part of Berlin Fixed Days, which is like 4 days of different fixed gear events, and then with the Fixed 42 on Sunday before everybody fly home. I'm really looking forward to use some days in Berlin there as well.
Nice, yeah. It seems like the National Mustard Crit in Dijon, France is doing something kind of similar, having an Omnium.
Yeah, for sure. They are also expanding until a full weekend of riding. I think when people are traveling far, it's nice to give them more than just this 1 hour of racing, and like to put in a whole experience on the whole weekend with pasta party and velodromes and all kind of nice stuff in community.
Where can people find you on the interwebs?
I'm on Instagram at Magnus_Bang. I think that's kind of the only place I'm posting cycling stuff online. But quite active on Instagram.
Yeah, and where can people find your team?
My team is also on Instagram at the SFC team, and we are on Facebook as Scandanavian Fixed Crit Team. Follow us, please, and you can see the new sponsor we are announcing in a week or so.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, I'm the one who say thank you for this opportunity.
All right, that does it for another episode of Save the Track Bike. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support. Follow us on Instagram at Save the Track Bike, SaveTheTrackBike.com. Shoutouts to FixedGearCrit.com. Thank you so much to our sponsor at Hexagon Cycles, HexagonCycles.com. If you buy anything from there, definitely use the code STTB. That's STTB. And if you use that code, it'll go to help support the podcast. It'll help me keep doing this every week. And yeah, also, definitely go to iTunes or wherever you're listening and leave a rating and a review. Hopefully good ones. Hopefully you're digging the podcast. And that's all I got. We'll see you next time.